All right, I think we've got everybody on there. So welcome, and we have the great honor of having Dwayne De Rosario on tonight. So Dwayne has graciously accepted to talk to you guys. Tell us about his soccer career and all the things he's learned that he's going to transfer on to you guys. So Dwayne, as I mentioned earlier, we have the U10 boys team and the U12 boys team on here. And as you had said, that you're okay if we recorded this session so that we can have the other hundreds of people that couldn't make it on this call to just be able to see it. Okay.
Are you guys seeing me okay?
Yeah, we can see you fine. So when you're going to be talking, you'll show up in the larger screen, right? That's correct, right, Danny?
Yeah.
Okay. So Danny, why don't you play? We have your highlights reel. It's a couple of minutes, but as he's getting that queued up, as everybody, I'm sure in the research that we gave you, the questions to hunt down the clues to find out who our guest was, everybody got it right, by the way, eventually. And so I'm sure you saw all the wonderful things from the clues, the personal, the awards and recognition, as well the team awards and recognition, 4 times MLS champ for 2 different teams, played with the Red Bull, the New York Red Bulls, and several other teams. And Toronto FC a couple of times as well, and MVP 7 years straight. There's all kinds of stuff, and we're we'll talk more about that as we go. So Danny's gonna run the video clip.
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
De Rosario looking for the long ball. He and Ibsen are the 2 subs for San Jose. De Rosario going right at Caleb. The shot! Scores! The Quakes win the cup! The Quakes win the cup! De Rosario, a golden goal!
Working himself free. Brian Mullen delivers. Great volley, smashing goal! 82nd minute. Che golazo, Dwayne De Rosario.
He does. Oh! Holy smokes! Dwayne De Rosario with a lightning bolt.
Oh, no. I got the checkbook. I don't know if I can use it.
Into the back of the net. And this one will put MLS in the lead 1-0. Dwayne De Rosario, the runner-up for the MLS MVP last season.
De Rosario. Shot De Rosario, a score.
Not many wins this season. De Rosario finding space, takes the shot, he bends one and Dwayne De Rosario does it again against his former club in the 10th minute. Just his 3rd of the year, but that's just magic.
Unbelievable.
Punched ahead and in the back of goal. And there it is. Dwayne De Rosario, the 100th goal of his MLS career. Oh my.
Okay, so there's lots of other videos you can see of Dwayne on online, but that was a snippet of his highlights. And just before we get to the questions, I had a question for you. What is that goal celebration about?
Oh, well, first I want to say, thank you for having me on.
Explain your goal celebration.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say thank you for having me on, and I'm excited to talking to the youngsters, the young aspiring athletes, and obviously that goal celebration was something that I just created because I wanted something that not only that was original, but also something that I could attribute to some of the players that had ability but didn't have the resources or didn't chose other paths or aren't here with us today. So it was a tribute to players I play with in community. That's why I call it the Shake and Bake, which was an article in the Toronto Star during the Robbie. with our team that they put because of our performance. So I really wanted to, as you know, I'm a proud Torontonian. I'm a proud Scarborough boy, and I want to pay tribute to some of those players that I grew up with that inspired me to never get to that next level. So that was where that goal celebration and the name originated from.
Very cool. Thank you. Can you just take us through a bit of a quick overview of your playing career journey from a youth player to the pros, where you got to?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much like most of the kids that are tuning in right now. I played many sports growing up. I'm originally from Scarborough, parentage of Guyanese descent. From my parents are from Guyana. Came over here for better job opportunity, financial security, and at the time I have two older brothers that we had at the time, and growing up in Scarborough, humble beginnings, and metro housing community, it was very tough. But one thing that I do know was sports was a great outlet for a lot of us kids, and we utilized sports to deal with a lot of stuff that we were going through personally and would unite us as a community. So we would always be playing outside and playing on the street, playing in the neighborhood, in the community. And my dad played soccer. He was a big avid coach and a player at the time as well, but a trailblazer really. Was very big into development and coaching, especially when my older brothers started to take soccer and start to play. My first club was Blizzards at the time, Toronto Scarborough Blizzards, and then I went to Malvern not too long after that, where I played the rest of my youth career for Malvern. But yeah, I played a lot of sports. I was passionate about basketball. I ran cross country, ran track, played volleyball, did a bunch of sports till about 14 years old. I was competitive in basketball actually, where I was playing with the select team, Toronto Blues, and I was playing with the provincial. I was just starting to get involved with the provincial program as well, where I had to make a decision because the demand was becoming overwhelming. And these are times, obviously, when we were playing, tournaments with 3-4 games in a day. And then after that, you'd run down to your basketball training and finish that. So I think at that time, it was becoming a little bit too much on my body. And I said, I had to make a decision between the two because they started to overlap on each other. And I chose to pursue my first love and my first passion, and that was soccer. And from there it was going through trials and tribulations, ups and downs, highs and lows. But one thing that I do know was I enjoyed and I loved the game. I love competing. I love playing. I love learning the game and spent passionate about.
Thank you for that. Leo had a question. Leo, are you on? Can you unmute Leo?
Yeah, I'll just go find him.
Yes.
So find
it's the Where's Waldo.
Yeah. All right, Leo, go ahead.
Did you play other sports when you were growing up?
Yeah, well, first of all, how you doing, Leo? You okay?
Yeah.
Good. Yes, I did play multiple sports growing up. I played pretty much every sport. I love sports. I really love basketball, but I was big into track and field too, where I ran in the peace games for Ontario. So I was very big into playing multiple sports and I was very competitive in everything I did. If I didn't get some, the only thing, believe it or not, one sport I didn't play was ice hockey because I couldn't skate. So I know it's kind of funny coming from here, but we just never had money to pay for ice and skates and stuff like that. So that's the one sport, believe it or not, that I to this day I still don't know how to skate. You're welcome.
Okay, Ben Nelson, you had a question?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Unlock Ben.
Yep.
That's fine. Are we on?
Yep.
How much goals did you score in your career?
How you doing, Ben? You all right?
Yeah.
Good. That's a good question. Let me see if I do the maths.
Well, we saw your 100th goal in the
I
video.
think I scored 104, I believe 105 or 104, somewhere around that in MLS. And I have 20. How many goals I have for Canada? Damn, I know I'm so bad. 20-something goals for Canada. I think I scored maybe 3 goals in Germany. So that's around 130, 140.
That's a lot.
Career goals. Yeah, and it was actually interesting because I started off as a striker. Not to mention playing in Richmond and the Lynx. So yeah, I forgot those teams. But I started off as a striker, and then 2006, before our team went to Houston, we had a great team. We had a lot of depth with Landon and Brian Ching and Ronald Cerritos, and the coach wanted me on the field, so he put me attacking mid, and then that's when I converged into an attacking midfielder. So I played that for the rest of my MLS career as an attacking midfielder until I pretty much came to Toronto in 2009, and I played various positions. Even with the national team, I was playing attacker until Stephen Hart put me left midfield, and so I wasn't solely I was always an attacking minded player, but I adjusted and I had to adapt my game to an attacking midfielder role, which is more of a creative role. But I enjoyed it because it allowed me to get on the ball a lot. It allowed me to be more creative, and I enjoyed playing on the left too because it created a lot of one-on-one situation, and that was the goal for our national team at that time, was to isolate me one-on-one with defenders, and we would transition, we'd overload one side and then transition the play over to me where I could create 1v1 situations. So I enjoyed that. It was just cutting into it was a little further away from the net, but yeah, so that's how much goals I scored, and that was my my journey as a player in terms of position.
I also play left.
Left midfield?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's fun.
Why do you like it so much?
I have a good foot for crossing and shooting.
Okay, nice. Well, you definitely need a good foot, and create 1v1 situations, and I'm pretty sure the forwards on your team value you because you always need someone that's good, a good crosser, and so to score, to be a good goal scorer, you also need good people to create those opportunities for you sometimes, and send those balls into the box where you can create goal scoring chances. But definitely keep that up and keep mastering your craft.
Dominic had a question. Dominic, you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks,
Tom.
Ben. Oh, you gotta unmute. Okay.
What kind of mentality do you have to succeed in pro soccer?
How you doing, buddy? You all right?
Yeah.
Is that your brother back there? You look like he's enjoying that granola bar or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What your question is, what mentality do you have to succeed in soccer?
Yeah.
Well, I think the first mentality would stem from just in life in general, would just be respectful and disciplined. Respect in the sense that you always got to be respectful to your parents, your coaches, and the factor of respect, it allows you to to be humble and allows you to learn and listen. I think, sometimes, I have a great blurb on my Instagram that Van Persie said today, and it just spoke about that kind of mentality and just learning how to humble yourself and taking obstacles, taking adversity, and using that as a strength more than a hindrance or weakness, and really looking at yourself and seeing what can you do to help the team, what's your role, finding out really what you're good at and mastering that. I know we all admire players that play with the flair, and I know you guys seen some of my goals, but not everybody is gonna have the capabilities to create those opportunities. Some are defenders, some are goalies, some are good, like the guy said before, going down the wing, and it's really just mastering that and sticking to one thing and find out who you are and what you're good at, and just keep working on it every day. So you definitely have to have, and that's where the discipline comes in terms of training and doing a lot of work on your own. Taking every training session and seeing that as an opportunity to improve. And I know sometimes we all go to training and we're tired. I did my Dero Fit today, and I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this, but I did it, and I felt good after. I feel great now. And where before that I felt a little sluggish, I felt a little tired, and we all go through those moments where we don't really want to go to training or we don't really want to go to school. But when you go there, you have to give the 100%. There's not every game I played in that I felt 100%, but I could still give 100%. And there's sometimes in games where you play and you're just like, man, the ball's not listening to me. It's not working with me today. So what you have to do is now be versatile, adapt your game, work hard for the team, do the little things in the training or in the game to help your team out. And those things, help you to develop and to not only be a great athlete, but to be a great person as well, and deal with adversity, which you guys will all face throughout your career. I know some of you guys on here may not be all starters. Some guys may not be getting time as others. And that's a test for you to see your character. That's a test for you to see how bad you really want it. And what are you willing to do? Are you willing to work hard? Are you willing to utilize these times? And I know a lot of us as young kids, young aspiring athletes, look at this opportunity in terms of the, we have to stay inside and stuff like that as a holiday, instead of an opportunity for you guys to really watch the game, watch your own games and be your own critic and assess yourself and things you guys could have did better in a game situation, or even just reflect, on things that you need to work on and really master that. Because now is the time where you could get a competitive edge over your teammates, because even though you do compete against others, but you are competing as teammates as well. And I think when you guys bring that to a training environment, it only helps each other to get better and to improve. So I hope that answered your question.
Thanks, Dominic. I think you're doing. Okay, Dylan, you had a question? Dylan on? Okay, well, that's right. The question was, what do pro coaches look for in a player?
Where's Dylan? Was he shy?
I don't know. Where is he on there, by the way? Or are you checking out?
I can't. I don't see his name on
Dylan.
here.
Uh-oh, a no-show.
Can't find him?
He might be on here, but his name on here isn't
different.
Dylan. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
They got all the different fancy names and stuff like that, right? So what was the question? Sorry.
The question was, what do pro coaches look for in players?
Well, that's a loaded question.
No, not positionally or anything like that, but in terms of the character of the individual.
Yeah, well, even myself, I think one thing that is consistent is definitely characters and body language. I think the first thing, at the professional level is definitely body language and characters. How does this character fit within our objective? And then when you get there, of course, your body language in training, your body language outside your training. How do you get along with your teammates? How do you adapt to certain environments? And it's not to say that you have to go there and get along with everyone, because it doesn't happen. I mean, I've played on many teams where we don't hang out after our trainings or our thing, but when we come in to train, we all understand and respect each other's and professionalism and wanting each other to improve. So I know if I give 100% training, I demand that from everybody else. And you know, I think coaches look for those kind of characters and look for those again, the body language in training. Are they focused? Are they taking plays off? Are they taking trainings off? You know, are they coming with the right mentality to help the team? And those are the key components that I think every professional coach looks for.
Thank you. Is Ryan on there? Ryan Lang?
Yep. Go ahead, Ryan.
Ryan, you got a question?
Who were your soccer idols when you were growing up?
How you doing, Ryan? You okay?
Yeah.
Good. I guess a good question. Who's my soccer idols growing up? Well, I love players that were very creative and played with flair, being an attacking player. So I would say Ronaldo was one of my favorite players, and no, not Cristiano Ronaldo, the Ronaldo, the phenomenon from Brazil. I actually was a part of the Barcelona Youth Academy when they just signed him. So I was able to see him play firsthand in the new camp, and just see how he just dismantled teams. I mean, a player that had strength, size, speed, explosiveness, you know, clinical in front of the goal. He had all the attributes that, you know, a superhero would have, and that's how I looked at him, because the way he was just dominant on the field was unbelievable. I also liked players like Van Basten. I liked Cruyff. I liked Maradona, Pelé. These were always my idols, because they create special moments. They always gave a wow factor. They played with flair. They played with passion. But one thing that they always did, they played with joy. And you know, my father always raised me to say, listen, even when you're training and you're working hard, you got to find joy in it. You got to find joy in the pain of working and training hard. You got to find enjoyment in that. And I thought those players really exemplified those characteristics that I really, really looked up to.
Okay, we're going to do one more before we let the U12s ask you some questions. So Ben Packer, are you still there?
Yep, go ahead, Ben.
I didn't really have a question.
Okay. Well, how you doing, Ben?
Good.
Okay.
So what do you have to say? You don't have no question?
No.
We'll put him on the spot. Okay.
I do have a good question here from the chat from Mo. He said, what position did you play when you were young? And how did you know midfielder was the right position for you?
Well, I was definitely more of an attacking player, even when I was younger, because I loved scoring goals. I just that was my thing. You know, I enjoyed scoring goals, but my dad again was my coach, and he would play me in multiple positions. Sometimes I played defense, and sometimes, you know, and a couple of times, you know, he put me defender, and I said, Dad, why am I playing defense? He goes, well, if you want to be a good forward, you have to know what a defender thinks. And I was like, wow, that's, you know, at the time it was like, okay. But once I started to play defense, I mean, I didn't play like every game, but every now and then he would put me defense. And then once I would go forward, I thought it was helping me, because I was able to anticipate the defense before, because now I'm thinking like a defender and how a forward would think. So it was kind of unique that you know, he was presenting that to me at such a young age. And I think especially for you young players, I always give Paul Stalteri, a player that's obviously not only a friend, but has done some great things in his career as well. You know, he started as a striker, and then when he went to Germany to play in the Bundesliga with Werder Bremen, they put him right back. And because he was open, he was able to adjust. And I know sometimes we're 10, 12, we have this set role or set position that you're going to play, or your coaches have you in. But as you develop, other coaches might see other qualities that you have. You might fit into a different system, and you have to be open and to adjust. Because if you just think that this is what you are, then it might be a difficult road for you, you know.
Okay, Danny, you want to get some more questions from the U12?
So for the U12s, I'm just going to ask you, I know a few of you have already done it. There's the hand raise. You can raise your hand. I'll see it in the chat, and then I'll call your name out, and then I'll unmute you so you can ask your question. So I'll go to Gavin.
What am I doing? Oops.
Go ahead, Gavin.
My question was, what was your favorite team to play for and why?
How you doing, Gavin? I like that jersey, buddy.
Thanks.
Yeah. Who's my favorite team to play for?
Oh, also I saw you on this show called Sports Lab.
Oh yeah, that's right. I did that a while ago. The question was, sorry?
Favorite team to play for? And
my favorite team to play for would have to be, you know, my hometown. As a kid growing up was always a dream come true for me to see soccer develop in Canada. And to in 2007, when I was in Houston, obviously we were champions that year. We went back to back, but to see, you know, professional soccer kick off in Toronto, I knew it was something special. I knew it was something not only special for myself, but the people who put many hours into volunteering their coaching and volunteering to the development of the game and the growth of the game, to see now a professional environment where kids like yourself could aspire to, kids yourself could wear a jersey like that, and it means something. It has value. It has there's an objective now that you can, you know, play in your backyard, where us as growing up, we only had those dreams and ambitions overseas. And I do have to put, you know, Toronto Lynx at the time, they were you know, they try to create a professional environments for us young kids, but nothing to the magnitude of Toronto FC. So, you know, having the opportunity to play in your hometown is, I think, every kid's dream, and every kid should aspire to one day, you know, play in their hometown and raise a cup for their hometown, and you know, have their parents and their family there supporting them and cheering them on. Not to say that, you know, you definitely could, you know, try overseas and stuff like that, but it's not what everyone thinks. Playing overseas is very difficult. It's not always, you know, that you know, that fantastic experience. There is some clubs that are struggling there financially. There's some environments that is not as professional. So you will see the same type of environments here. So I definitely think, for me, Toronto FC, my hometown team, is my favorite club, because I have that passion of my hometown, and I take that, you know, with a lot of pride.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm gonna grab one from Tino.
Hello, Mr. De Rosario.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. What jersey do you have back there? What is that?
Just a sweater.
On the wall?
Javinko signed.
Okay, and then the blue one?
Arquizio.
Okay, big jerseys, man. Are you goalie?
No, those are just decoration.
Oh, okay.
I have a few questions. Why didn't you stay overseas?
Why what?
Did you stay in Germany or overseas?
Why didn't I stay? Is that the question?
Yes.
Well, you know what? When I went to Germany, I got selected from the U20 World Cup. And when I went to Germany, it was East Germany. It was a small town in East Germany. When I went there, I so bad wanted to play in Europe. I ended up signing. Everything was going great. Our team was doing decent. I was playing, and then our coach got sacked. Got sacked, but you know, they fired our coach. So once they fired a coach, a new coach came in, and everything changed. I went from playing to not traveling. so it was very, very difficult at that time. And, you know, I wasn't really involved in much of the team stuff. So things really took a turn for me. And for me, it wasn't helping my development at my age, being 18 years old. It was really impacting my national team opportunities. So I had to make a decision at the time that I thought was best for my career and my future, because if I was to stay there further, I mean, I was signed a contract for 2 years. So if I stayed there another year, I left a year and a bit in, I just felt that I would end up at square one again with no team, without any clear, you know, playing and playing the game I love, because I love playing. And, you know, when you're not training with the team is one thing, and or traveling with the team, but when you're not a part of the team, or you don't feel a part of the team, that's a whole another environment. So I decided to come back, reassess and reevaluate my situation. I saw opportunity in MLS, and it looked good. You know, I've spoken to some players that actually played in MLS, so I set my pursuit to try to get into MLS.
And one more question.
Yep.
At when in your career did you know you're going to be a professional player?
At what age in my career did I know I was going to be a professional? Probably when I signed my first professional contract, to be honest, because nothing is guaranteed. I mean, there's so many things that happen, and I'm just speaking about that because from experience, right? And there's so many things that come into contracts. There's fine details, and there's so much ins and outs that you guys, you know, I hope that you guys are fortunate to experience, and that you do understand the importance of school and being educated, so you know how to read contracts, and you ask questions to your agents or your coach or whoever is representing you, so you know the full details of what you're signing, and you don't just get excited and sign for any club just because you're signing with whatever team. You know, you got to make sure you read the details and the fine prints. But you know, I was always passionate about the sport, and when I was 14, I decided that this is what I wanted to do, and I set out on my mission. And I think it was probably about 15 years old. I set up a 5-year plan for myself, and I made an oath to myself, in this 5 years, this is the work that I'm going to put in. And within that 5 years, I was able to represent the national team and sign my first pro contract with the Toronto Lynx. And then from there, I went to Germany.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Kingston.
Hello, my name is Kingston.
How are you, Kingston? Is that a backdrop, or is that like a? What you got
It's a background for Zoom.
Oh wow! Oh man, you got all fancy on me now. Okay, all right, I like it. What's your question?
And my question is, what made you pick soccer over basketball? Like, was there one thing that was specific, like, that made you choose soccer over basketball?
Yeah, I think I have to be realistic with one, my height, and two, you know, it's for me personally at the time, I wasn't the most how can I say this in the right way? School wasn't my real thing. So in order to play basketball, you have to you have to do the SAT, you have to go to college in the States. And so when I had to sit down and evaluate and assess all these things, you know, and being soccer was my first love. You know, I grew up kicking a ball. I was born kicking a ball. So I decided to make put my focus into soccer. It was a tough one, to be honest. It was very tough. I really loved basketball. Like, I would literally have a basketball in my hand and a soccer ball at my feet. So, but I think I want to think it was the right choice for me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Xavier.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. What advice would you give to us, like, as kids, to become like better soccer players?
Well, I think that's a great question, and I think I'll go back to the first thing is the respect and discipline first and foremost, because you have to have that, and to be better soccer players requires you to be better in life in general. That means better at your training habits, more focused in training, doing your homework, being respectful to your parents or whoever's raised you. Listen, and listening to your coaches. Advice and input, taking constructive criticism, looking yourself in the mirror and say, I could be better, I could do better. Setting goals for yourself. What's your goals for the year? What do you want to accomplish? Short-term and long-term goals. Studying and watching the game. I know a lot of kids. I spoke to a kid last week, and he asked me the same question, and I said, well, what position do you play? And he said defender. And I asked him, well, who's his favorite players are? And he said Messi. And I said, well, how are you a defender and your favorite player in the world is Messi, right? So really finding players that exemplify how you want to play your game, and studying the game, watching the game, specifics, so people in your position and what they're doing, characteristics they're doing that you can apply to your game. And you really have to eat, sleep, and breathe the game if you want to take the game to the next level. And last but not least, you have to have fun. You have to enjoy the game. You have to enjoy the hard work. You have to enjoy getting up and getting to training. You have to enjoy your parents. Hey, come on, let's go. You're running late. You have to hurry up. You got to have fun. You got to enjoy. You got to, still have your character when you're playing. Yes, you have to fit into whatever your system the coach wants. You have to abide by how they want to structure your team. But at the end of the day, when you play, you have to play. You have to play with your personality. You have to not be afraid to make mistakes and play open and free. And if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. You gotta carry on with the game. Don't be discouraged, and you gotta have a lot of confidence and self-belief in yourself.
Great. Dominic.
Hi, Dwayne.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good.
What sort of stretching would you do before a game, and what would you do after a game to help with any sore muscles?
Yeah, good question. I think there's tons of information out there regarding stretching and taking care of your body. But from my humble opinion, I think, before a game, you shouldn't be doing any stagnant stretching. Because what happens is when you do stagnant stretching means it's like if you're doing a stretch and you're holding it, for too long, you're more relaxing the muscle. And you don't really want to relax the muscle, because as footballers or soccer players, we're always firing our muscles. So we're always doing quick, sharp movements. It's constant cuts, it's constant turns. So you want to wake up the muscles. You want to fire it. So more agility stretching, more activation stretching, and then of course after you want to do that more, holding a stretching, breathe through the muscle to relax the muscle now, to release all that stress that you put on your muscle. Ice, take care of any injuries and ice your body, and thank you, and really take care of your body, because your body is your tools, right? Your body is the component that you're going to need to be able to show up the next day and train good, or the next game and be ready. So it's very important that stretching before, keeping it agile, keeping it loose, and active stretching. And then, like I said, after the game, more of a relax, hold the pose for longer, and breathe through the muscle, and more of like a yoga type stretch.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Did we lose everybody? It's just me and you, buddy.
Hi, Dwayne. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I have a question. What do you think is your best overall accomplishment, and why?
Ooh, that's another loaded question. You guys have some good questions, man. What's my overall Well, one, being able to do what I love doing. I think first and foremost is my greatest accomplishment for myself is knowing how much work I put into this and being able to do it for 20 years, play professional and my next biggest accomplishment, of course, is representing my country, and for me that's a huge honor. I think every kid aspires to one day, put on that red and white jersey and hear your anthem and with pride. So that's a huge accomplishment for me, and of course just playing professional and being fortunate and blessed to make a living off of what I love to do. And during that journey I was able to win championships, being able to be a part of watching my hometown win a championship and to be a part of that. So there's many great things that I could take away from accomplishment wise, and having a family, having kids for me is a great accomplishment, and be able to maintain a career through that whole process is for me was important. And now again, being able to give back for me is another huge accomplishment, that I'm in a position now I could give back. And for me, those are all big accomplishments and things that I value.
Thank you, Dwayne, for answering my question.
You're very welcome.
So who's next? Danny, are you still there?
Yep, sorry. I was just keeping an eye on the time. Dwayne, how many more questions do you want to accept?
Well, how much questions do you have?
I've got one.
Let's go to 8.
8?
Okay.
All right. So
8 o'clock, yeah.
Perfect. All right, Andrew.
Who is the best player you played with?
How you doing, Angie? Listen, you guys are you in space?
Yeah. That's so.
Yeah. Who's the best player I played with? Well, I've been, again, very blessed and fortunate to play with a lot of great players. And if you guys see on my Insta Live, some of them were on there. I had Brian Ching on yesterday. He was, a fantastic player that wasn't the most flashiest, but a player that I really appreciated because being his teammate, he was extremely, extremely good at what he did, and he stuck to what he did. So he would definitely be up there. Landon Donovan would be up there. Thierry Henry would be up there. Having the opportunity to play with a world international legend like Thierry and seeing how he handles himself every day at training and the level of professionalism. Here's coming a guy that's already won a World Cup, that's already, accomplished so much in his career, Champions League, and, still shows up on the field, gives it 100%, still competes, still is a fierce competitor. And, those type of players, I really admire. Rafa Marquez, playing with him too, play with Barcelona, play with Mexico. And, these guys are definitely players that I enjoy. Julian de Guzman, Atiba Hutchinson, players with the national team that I've played with, Paul Pesciolito, Alex Bumbry. So I've been very fortunate to play with some players, Craig Forrest, Pat Onstad, that have done enormous things in the world of football and great things. So those players definitely stand out. Jermaine Defoe, another player that's, Julio Cesar. I can name so many players as I'm talking. I'm just thinking about all the players and how much they attributed towards my success and and push me to be a better player. So those are to name a few.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we've got a seasoned U12 per se, Rob.
What's a seasoned U12? Oh wow!
It's an old U12. And the only reason why I jumped the line is because I've got a follow-up to that question. He asked you who your favorite player was. I want to know who you despised playing against. Which defender did you hate playing against?
Yeah, well, he's actually one of those players, and that was Rafa Marquez. You know, our battles in CONCACAF was, man, that guy was he was a very intelligent defender, but he was mean, like the off the ball stuff, the stuff that you probably can't get away with today.
Stuff that's not on camera.
Yeah, but exactly. But, you know, he just did everything to get into your head, throw you off your game, retaliate. But also, he was very clean on the ball. You know, the ball would come in a stressed position. I would pressure him, and he would just be, like, so calm, you know, and just, you know, find a way to play out of situations. You know, he would be up there. Other players that was tough was the guy like Pablo Monstrani, U.S. national team. Again, another physical guy, another guy that always took it personal when he played against me. Always tried to throw me off my game, play aggressive against me, you know, do trippy stuff towards me. Eddie Pope, again, another player that was a tough player to play against. There's quite a few. But those players for me, they definitely stand out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Teo.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, hi.
Hello. How are you?
Good. You?
I can't complain. I'm good. Enjoying these questions.
So my question is, did you have any like pre-game or after-game rituals that you did?
Yes. Good question. I did have my pre-game rituals and something I would do before every game. But you have to understand, as a professional, my pre-game started right after that whistle blew the week before. So my pre-game starts right after my last game. My pre-game begins, because then I start to prepare for the next game right away in terms of taking care of my body, icing myself after the game, getting massages during the week, making sure I'm training properly, making sure I'm focused, you know, studying videotape, analyzing the other team, seeing their strengths, their weaknesses, what's our game plan going into the game. And then, of course, my personal rituals the day of the game would really be just getting into my own space where you know, I turned off my phone the night before where nobody would call me. I didn't want no distractions, because that was my time for me to perform. And I knew it would require every inch, every drip of sweat, every ounce of focus is needed to continuously to perform at a high level week in, week out. So I would you know, make sure, you know, rest, get up, drink a lot of water throughout the day, eat right, take care of myself. And do a lot of visualization throughout the day is what I would do, and just kind of think about things that I want to do, recap on some of the things that maybe last game that I tried or I did, I wasn't happy with, I was happy with, and maybe do it again, maybe I won't do. And then, of course, you know, studying what our objective is as a team in this game situation, because, you know, the next level is very game specific in terms of your opponents. So the preparation, but again, the preparation begins right after your last game. You start to prepare for the next game. And, you know, everybody would tell you, it's true, I did wear a new boot every game because I love the feeling and the energy that came with opening a box and a new shoe, and that feeling. I know we don't have the luxury. You guys don't have the luxuries yet, and hopefully you do get to that level. But I just like that new feeling and that of a fresh new pair of boots. So that was part of my ritual as well. You're welcome.
Bradley.
How you doing, man? Oh, you setting up the background too. Okay, get it going. Wait, where are you? You're hiding, Bradley.
Hi.
There you are. How you doing?
Good.
Were you trying to do the background thing?
No, I was just trying to unmute myself.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
Good.
Good, good. What's your question, buddy?
What was your most memorable game?
That's a tough one again. Well, one that definitely comes to mind again. I always go back to it. My first call up with the national team at Varsity Stadium. You guys wouldn't know what Varsity Stadium is, but it was where our national team played in Ontario, and we played against Portugal at the time. That was my first call up, as well as I got an assist to Paul Stelteri that game. So that was my most memorable, because I remember I was 16 years old. I was a young kid, and here I'm coming in, Randy Samuel, Paul Pesciolito, Alex Bunbury, Jeff Onger, Frank Yallop. I was like, wow, the guys I look up to. So that was definitely would stand out for me as one of my most memorable games, even though I probably got 5-10 minutes, but I made the most of it. And of course, Gold Cup 2000, winning Gold Cup with Canada was a special time, and all my MLS Cup games, my All-Star games, those have to be up there as well. And yeah, those ones stand out the most for me.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Louis.
Hi.
Hello.
I have a question. So.
Oh, you're the one that was trying to do the background. Nice. What's that going on? What we have? Oh, you're trying to be in space too. I like it. What's your question?
How do you know your team was just right for you?
Well, there's some situations that, you have to fit in to the team, because no player is bigger than the team. So you have to sometimes adjust and adapt to the environment, but within that, you still have to be you, and you still have to have your character, and people have to respect that. But most importantly, your work, and I think how I knew the team was right for me was just the attitude of the training sessions, and intensity, and the commitment of the guys in the locker room and in the team. Yes, it's always fun when you're outside the game, but when anytime we're training and preparing, just that level of professionalism, and that level of seriousness in wanting to improve every day to train. I think that's how I know, the team is the right fit for me. I always say, when I left Houston, a championship team in 2009, and came to TFC, I don't think it was the right time for me to come, just because I don't think they were ready to make those movements, being a new team. And I felt that, it was hard for me to replicate that competitiveness in the locker room, and that competitiveness in training. So it was very difficult to make everybody understand that. It's different when you have 6-7 guys training and being competitive every day training, than when you have 1 or 2 guys that understand that next level and trying to get the rest of the whole team. It's very, very difficult, even though I tried. But for me, I think but in saying that, you have to still bring the energy. You still have to bring the fire every day, and be an example, because you can't demand from others if you're not doing yourself, right? So sometimes you have to create the energy in the locker room as the best you can.
Great. We'll do 2 more. So I'll get Daniel P.
What's up, Daniel?
Hi.
I like that. Where are we now? Where is this? Are you in space?
Yeah. My question is, how long do you train for every day? That's like when you were a kid and now, and what was your favorite drill that most benefited you?
Okay, good question. So, how much times do I train every day as a player? I didn't stop training, because there's one aspect, and that's the physical aspect of training. And then there's the mental part of training, where that never stops. when you want to get to that next level, you're constantly training. You're training your mind by sometimes resting, going to bed at the right time. That's a part of training, because, you got training the next morning, you got a game the next day. Eating right, that's a part of training, right? Taking care of your body, making sure you have the proper nutrients so you could perform at a top level. And then, of course, the physical training. All right, the physical training is it varies. Again, when I grew up, we played a lot of soccer. I played a lot, like every day, a lot throughout the day. I don't know how much hours I put in, but I put in a lot of hours. I mean, after training, I'd go home, I would keep playing, and I just really love the game. So I'll go to the park with the ball, with the ball at my feet, and just sometimes me by myself, and because I saw something on that a player did, and I would stay there hours and hours trying to do that. You guys saw the free kick I hit. Well, I used to stay outside and try to hit certain shots all the time, and try to hit the ball a certain way so it creates a different spin, and learn a different symmetry of the ball and your foot and how you hit the ball a certain way. I really enjoyed that. I love that. And I never don't know how much hours, but like I said, training never stops if you want to get to that level, because you always got to be training. And I know you guys are still young, so it sounds like, wow, that's overwhelming. But you have to have fun. Just like when you guys are playing one-on-one outside of training, and you guys are kicking around, you guys are laughing, having a good time. That's training. You guys don't know it's street soccer. That's part of training. So I definitely encourage that. And in terms of drills, being an attacking player, I like attacking drills. Crossing and finishing, shooting and finishing, 1v1s, 2v1s. I really any ball, dribbling drills. Those are my favorite.
Perfect. All right, we'll get the last one in. It'll be Brody.
Was it hard switching from one position to the other?
Oh, we're in San Francisco now. We got the Golden State Bridge in the back? What's the question?
Was it hard switching from a striker to an attacking midfielder?
Not really, to be honest, because I actually wanted to play attacking midfield, because I like running at defenders instead of, having my back to the defender for a majority of the game, and them kicking my heels and chewing up my Achilles. But this time I actually was able to get on the ball a lot. I really love being on the ball. I love, creating or orchestrating a play. And so for me, that transition wasn't hard at all. So I enjoyed that challenge. So that's a good question, though.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think we got that was a long session, much more than we talked about, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of great questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Dwayne, you provided us with a lot of insights in everything you said, and a broad discussion around soccer and having the ambition to go forward and what you have to do. So
yeah,
I think everybody here, on behalf of everyone, I would say that, we really, really appreciate this. It was a fantastic session.
You're welcome, and
right.
Congrats. I wish you guys all the best in you guys' development, and I hope that I was able to provide some good insight, and you guys can use towards you guys' careers and your development. And like I said, just take every day as an opportunity to improve and get better. And I wish you all the best, and hopefully you guys in the future, you guys could be able to sign sign your autographs for me one day.